Hey guys, welcome back to Hope with Jonathan. Tonight, our special guest is going to be Joshua Tannen. I believe he resides from the state of Florida. Welcome to Hope with Jonathan. Tonight, we're going to have a special show. We've been really battling with some technical difficulties backstage, but we're going to get through this show tonight. And I'm really excited to bring our guest onto the show tonight. My name is Jonathan Traylor. I'm the host of Hope with Jonathan. Also, we've got a very special co-host tonight, guys, all the way from Indiana, Uncle Jim Myers, an incredible advocate. If you don't know who Uncle Jim Myers is, you need to check him out. He's everywhere. He's a kidney advocate, kidney transplant recipient, so many different accolades, very renowned in the kidney community. And I get the pleasure of having him on the show tonight, Uncle Jim Myers. So really incredible to have him on tonight. And also Joshua Tannen. This show's all about him and all about his story and advocating for a living kidney donor. And so on a serious note, though, I want to get my guest and my special co-host. So let's welcome to the show, Mr. Uncle Jim Myers. There's Uncle Jim.
Hey, Jonathan. Hello, everybody.
How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. No problem at all. Trying to get the screen that I want to have you on before we start talking, and then we'll begin. Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
I'm from Hammond, Indiana.
Yep.
I've been a kidney patient, PKD patient for over 41 years. I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease when I was 25. I was on dialysis at the age of 58, and I was transplanted at IU Health in Indianapolis at the age of 62. I'm pretty much a full-time kidney advocate now. I do my own broadcasts on Friday evening. So, get a chance, be sure you check us out. Tonight's all about Jonathan and about my good buddy, Josh Tannen.
Absolutely. And Uncle Jim, why don't we talk a little bit about kidney solutions and the benefits of patients for utilizing their services and things like that. What do you think about Kidney Solutions?
Oh, great organization. Kent Bressler is one of my best friends in the whole world. He's in charge of it. It's a organization that, without any cost to you, they help people find kidney transplants. Not only that, but Kent continues to work with you after transplant. If you have issues, he's very good about things like that. He's had a very high success rate. And I hope that if you're looking for a kidney and you're having difficulty, that you contact our friend Kent Bressler at Kidney Solutions. You can find his website, kidneysolutions.com, with all that contact information that you need.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we also have support groups. We meet on Monday night at 6 p.m. Central. Of course, come on out, ask questions, get involved, get engaged with us. And it's like a big family, really, isn't it, Uncle Jim?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Monday night is kidney night as far as I'm concerned.
We have a lot of fun in there. It's not always, talking about kidney disease. I mean, we talk about a little bit of everything in there, but it's centered around, kidney disease and dialysis, transplant. But, we do talk about other things. And actually, what is it? This Monday, we're going to have a very special guest. I believe Dr. Axelrod's going to be in there.
Dr. Axelrod's going to come on. He's going to talk to us about kidney transplants, issues before and after. So.
Sorry about that, Uncle Jim.
It's okay.
I hit a button. I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
Well, you did a thing, But isn't that what the kids say now? I did a thing.
we have been fighting technical difficulties the whole show, but it's okay. We're gonna give Joshua Tannen an opportunity to share his incredible kidney disease story, and he's got an incredible story. And Uncle Jim's already interviewed him once before and shared his interview as well. I want to encourage you guys to go check out Uncle Jim on YouTube. I believe he's James Myers over there on YouTube. And
Correct.
also, I want you to go check out his podcast. It's streaming everywhere. It's on was it on Spotify? Anywhere else?
It's on Spotify. And what's the name of that group that actually changes your broadcast into podcast, John? The one you showed me?
Anchor.
Yeah, it's on Anchor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. And yeah, go check it out. You know, Uncle Jim interviews some really awesome guests on his show. I think you got a show this Friday, right?
Yeah, tomorrow we're talking to Stacy Remendati. Stacy's got a heck of a kidney story. She had a transplant, but she's had all kinds of health issues both before and since. And I hope I do a good job covering that for Stacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys go check that out. But tonight, guys, listen, we've got an incredible guest, Joshua Tannen from the state of Florida, going to share his incredible kidney warrior story. He is in need of a living donor, okay? We want to encourage you to reach out to us at Kidney Solutions. If you come across this video and you feel in your heart that you want to be tested or you'd like to possibly be his potential donor, reach out to us at Kidney Solutions. I'll be flashing the information up on the screen during the interview, but you can reach out. I'll give you the phone number. It's 830 285 2140, or you can go to kidneysolutions.org and you will find all the information needed to get the ball rolling, to get started. But you can also call that number and talk with Mr. Kent Bressler, and he will guide you into the path that you need to go and talk with you and consult with you about being a potential donor. And but without further ado, without me hitting any more buttons or any more glitches to happen, we're going to bring on our guest from the state of Florida, Mr. Joshua Tannen. So welcome to the show, Mr. Josh.
Everybody shake it, baby.
Hey, Joshua, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, sir.
Doing well,
Doing
thank you.
well. Thanks for asking. Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your age, and why don't you tell us that so we can get a little more acquainted with you?
So I'm 34 years old. I do live in Dunedin. 3 times a week, I volunteer at the hospital across the street from me, which I enjoy and gives me something to do. And I enjoy going for walks, going to the beach, going for swims. I live with my mom, and we have a kitty cat named Lucy, who's very cute and very sweet. And I do peritoneal dialysis every night for 10 and a half hours. And I've been on the transplant list for 10 and a half years.
Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned you have some cats. I have some cats here at the house too. I'm a cat person. Not by well, it's kind of by accident, but so it's nice to meet another fellow cat owner, so to speak. So Josh, you mentioned you're 34 years old. You said
Correct.
34 years old. So when did you become acquainted or become diagnosed with kidney disease?
Well, before I was a teenager. So in 2000, I was being hospitalized and I was starting dialysis in September of 2001, just right after the terror attacks. And I was on peritoneal dialysis until June of 2002. As a matter of fact, I had my first transplant June 16th, 2002. So that was like 20 years ago today, I guess, because today's the 16th. So it would have lasted 20 years if the first kidney that I had was still working.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 9.5 years after I got my first transplant, my mom donated one of her kidneys to me. And
That's awesome.
for the
That is
for the
awesome.
9.5 years, I lived a pretty normal life. Unfortunately, in the summer of 2011, I started feeling sick. At first, the doctors thought there was some kind of a virus, but unfortunately, they noticed my labs were starting to seem kind of weird because they've done blood work and my hemoglobin actually started dropping, and I've been having to get blood transfusions throughout the summer.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I even had to have an emergency bone marrow biopsy to figure out what was going on.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I had to go to the emergency room right after that because I did it at a doctor's office. And my nephrologist there at the time, because I was living in Panama City Beach, Florida, my first transplant was actually in St. Louis at St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Okay.
My nephrologist was in contact with Barnes Jewish Hospital nephrologist, and they were recommending that I take a med flight from Panama City Beach back up to St. Louis to have the nephrologist at Barnes try to figure out what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a different kind of anti-rejection medication because it was believed that the anti-rejection medication caused my kidney to become too toxic. And that's why they believed that it failed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had a kidney biopsy in June or July of 2011 in Panama City Beach, and they saw that there was some rejection showing up.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went back up to St. Louis, I lived with my dad for a little while, and I avoided going back on dialysis as long as possible. Unfortunately, the week before Halloween in 2011, I woke up with having trouble breathing, and it just got worse the rest of the day. I started coughing hard. By that night, I was in the emergency room, and they had to intubate me, and I was like in a medically induced coma for like 3 days. I woke up on Friday morning in the ICU. They still had the tube in my throat. They were telling me that they had to drain fluid from my lungs. So if I hadn't gone to the emergency room with low oxygen saturation level, I would have probably died. I probably wouldn't have woken up the next morning.
Did you
So
have
they
any
saved my life.
did you have any symptoms before, like a couple of days before, of that you thought something maybe wasn't right? With maybe the swelling or breathing issues or anything like that?
No, it's
Lack of urination or anything like that?
no. I just woke up one morning really having a hard time breathing,
Okay.
and I had to go to the emergency room, and they checked my oxygen saturation level, which was just too low. So they got me an oxygen right away and
Yeah.
took me into a room where they started dialysis actually during that period when I was out. And I
Yeah.
did inpatient.
We actually share a little bit of a common story. I kind of experienced a sort of a similar deal. I ended up in the emergency room as well and crashed into dialysis due to the fact that the fluid had was building up on my body and my lungs began to, I began to breathe heavy and labored, and I had a lot of swelling and things like that going on and very nauseated. I had chronic fatigue where I was sleeping all the time and things like that. And then I woke up in the ICU with a on a machine, on a dialysis machine, a very large dialysis machine. So, but so I can definitely relate to what you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't realize they started dialysis until I woke up in the
Mm-hmm.
ICU that morning.
Yes. Did you have any education on kidney disease and the effects of kidney disease? Had anybody, like doctors or anybody, had been talking with you about the effects and symptoms and things like that?
No, my nephrologist in Panama City Beach just wasn't very good. They didn't even monitor my prograph level, which they believed could have been the cause of the rejection.
Incredible.
The doctors there just were terrible. That's why I went back up to St. Louis. They have better health care up there than in the Panhandle. They almost killed me at the hospital there.
Mm, yeah. What was the overall cause? Was you diagnosed with maybe a rare kidney disease or autoimmune kidney disease like FSGS or something like that? Or
Yeah, FSGS
uh huh.
and glomerular nephritis.
Okay.
This was when I was before a teenager.
So before you were a teenager, so you've been
Yes, like I think I was like 11 or 12, I think,
wow.
when all this started.
So you've been battling kidney disease for a majority of your life.
Yes.
Yeah. And what was that like growing up as a teenager and like going to high school, middle school, and dealing with kidney disease and all that? So was it tough for you?
Yes, I actually had to do homeschooling for a little while because I was basically homebound because I was very sick and I was like sitting in the living room on a lounge chair. I would have a homeschool teacher come and help me out for a while.
Yeah.
I was all swollen and I was very, very, very sick.
Yeah. And you
I've had
mentioned
seizures in the hospital before, like I was in the ICU, like when I was at St. Louis Children's Hospital
uh
while
huh.
this was starting.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, that
You
was bad. Like I was like delusional.
you mentioned that your mom was your kidney donor. That's amazing. That your own mom stepped up to be your donor. That was
I
incredible.
know. She literally saved my life.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's unfortunate that it didn't last as long as it should have, because it should have lasted longer being a living donor.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't monitoring my anti rejection medications, and that's why it got so toxic.
Yeah. What forms of dialysis have you done for your kidney failure?
Well, the first one was PD back before I got my first transplant. And then I started hemo when they started me on dialysis around Halloween of 2011. But I switched back to PD in January of 2012. And I did that until, oh boy, here's another part of the story, which is incredible. So we noticed that my transplanted kidney was enlarged, and they determined that there was a huge mass, and they wanted me to get a nephrectomy. Now, that one was rough because they ended up having to go in twice because I was bleeding from somewhere inside and I was crashing, and they wanted to figure out what was going on and had to give me another blood transfusion. Like, this was like during the night. They took me back into the emergency or the operating room. So, and my mom was so frantic because she didn't know if I was still alive.
Wow. So for those of you that don't know, nephrectomy means they're going to remove a kidney.
And they incidentally removed my right native kidney too. They thought it was in the way, so they removed both the transplanted kidney and the right native kidney.
Wow.
And it did
Incredible.
damage to my heart as well. So I had to be inactive on the transplant list for a little while until get that straightened out.
Do you think that the FSGS might have affected that transplanted kidney as well from your mom?
I don't know. I think, like I said, it may have something to do with the medication that became too toxic for my body.
Hmm. So they're relating it mainly to your the medication that they just didn't have you quite regulated enough with the what were you on Prograf and Cellcept or
Cell theft.
okay.
They actually, to try to reverse it, like toward the end of it, they tried cyclosporin.
It's a
Now,
well known one. That's a well known one. I think Mr. Bressler's on that one. I
I
believe.
had
Yeah.
that nephrectomy when we lived in Phoenix. As I moved quite a bit from St. Louis to Panama City Beach back to St. Louis back to Panama City Beach. And I was actually listed at Shands in Jacksonville, Florida for a time. I actually got the call from there one day, but it was a high risk kidney, and I did not accept that,
Really?
which I didn't realize that that was not a good thing, even though that I was scared because being high risk, I had no idea what that even meant. But my doctor told me not to decline an offer, even if it's a high risk.
Let me ask you this: when they were saying a high risk, were they telling you that it was a Hep C or any of that, or what were they
It was
telling you?
from a 45-year-old deceased drug overdose victim.
Well, I will tell you, Joshua. I actually have one of those kidneys, and I've been transplanted now for almost 2 years, and I'm doing excellent with the high risk kidney. And so I would say, if you're ever offered one of those again, I would definitely heavily consider it because there are treatments like Hep C. They're able to treat Uncle Jim, you correct me if I'm wrong, but they have treatments now for Hep C. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yeah. And so
definitely.
that's definitely consider the high risk and because ultimately I'm living with one right now myself. And I mean, I don't want to share too much about my donor story, but it was a result of an overdose. And so, but you definitely just to encourage you in the future, if you are offered one of those kidneys, it's okay to consider it.
Well, given the fact that I've already been waiting 10.5 years, I need to because I have no idea how much longer it'll be before I even get another call.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and that was one of the reasons why it's so good to have good mentorship, in your life, such as like Mr. Kim Bressler, Mr. Uncle Jim Myers. I mean, I actually reached out to these guys. I actually reached out to these guys. I believe I even called Mr. Steve, the kidney nurse, Belcher. I believe I gave him a call as well. I think I woke him up in the middle of the night and called him and talked with him. And he's actually watching. He's been commenting on the show, and we've got a lot of people watching the show. We've got Shane Blanchard from Midwest Kidney Warriors and Kyle Hawkins from KWM, and but uh, it's good to have good mentorship and people to talk to in your life. That way, before you make a decision like taking a high risk, to consult with people and talk with them. Make sure it's the right decision for you. For me, everybody's different. Every patient's different. Okay, I'm just saying for me, and I can only share my story. But for me, it was the best decision that I ever made to take the high risk kidney. But not for everyone. Not for everyone. Everyone needs to know, and like Steve's saying, everyone needs to know about the advantages and the disadvantages, and that's correct. Because there it is a risk, but like I said, everyone has to make the right decision for themselves. And again, I know we say this time and time again, but everyone needs to be their own best advocate when it comes to their health. And I'm sure you've heard that time and time again over the years with you battling kidney disease. Does your mom
Yes.
does your mom help you make decisions when it's based on your health? does she get involved and work and go to the doctors and make so that you can make an overall decision along, with your mom?
Most definitely.
Okay. I was just wondering about that. If your mom played a huge role in your healthcare decisions and things like that.
Yeah.
Talk about support. Where are you getting your support from? Because when you're battling and going through the things that you have faced, Joshua, it's definitely tough, not only physically but mentally. And it can have an effect on your mental health, if you understand what I'm saying. So where who do you talk to, and where do you go for your support when you want to talk about what you're going through?
Well, a couple of people. First of all, my mom, because she's very good support for me. And I have some friends that I usually chat with
Hmm.
that, they understand what I'm going through and they kind of help me feel better. And, usually talking to them always helps me, cheer up, even though that sometimes it's hard to go through what I'm going through. And I always say the hardest part is not the dialysis, it's the wait for a kidney donor. I'm sure that many other people that are in the same position as me would say that waiting is hard, no matter how hard they've tried to, be positive about finding a kidney.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you definitely need support. You definitely need people to talk to. You can't keep all this stuff in. If you do, it's just going to affect you. And I'm sure Uncle Jim can attest to that as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Is it okay, John, if I ask a couple questions?
Absolutely, Uncle Jim. Absolutely.
Josh, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and if it's out of line, you let me know and I'll stop. Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about your PSA, your high antigen level.
Be
Can
my
you talk to us a
PRA.
little bit about that?
Yeah,
Pardon
that
me?
is. Yeah, the PRA is 100%, which means it's a difficult match. However, I do have national priority on the UNOS list. Unfortunately, since I've been on the list for so long, sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And I've been trying to find a living donor to do the pair kidney thing with me so that I have a chance to find a living donor. And
Okay.
somebody from Texas came last year to Tampa to get evaluated. Unfortunately, she had one little problem that ended up disqualifying her. She had stenosis on her kidney, and they said, sorry, she's not a candidate to donate. But that was the closest I've had to someone doing that pair kidney program with me. But I
Okay.
do know.
When we're talking about a high antigen level and a high PSA level, that came about because of the number of blood transfusions that you've had over the course of your life. Would that be a fair
And
statement?
my, yes, and the previous transplant that I had.
Okay. Okay. So we need a lot of people to test for Josh so we can find that one person that is an exact match. Is that likewise a fair thing for me to say, Josh?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why we're doing the show, and that's why we're talking to you tonight, is because we're trying to get people to come and test. Correct?
Correct.
All right. I I know you're back in Florida now. Well, with your mom, are you still listed at Tampa General?
Yes.
Okay, is Patricia Hudson still your transplant coordinator there?
Yes, she is.
Okay, PM Hudson at tgh.org. That's her email address, correct?
Actually, she changed it. I don't know why, but it's a weird thing. But it's like at USF something or other.
Okay. Can you, if you
message
send it to
you.
me after the broadcast, can I put it in the comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
After the broadcast, I'll send it to you.
All right. I have a phone number to contact the kidney transplant program, the living donor program at Tampa General. That's 813-844-5669 or 1-800-505-7769. Are those still good numbers, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. Um, and you mentioned that they recognize paired donation there.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that have gone on since the time you and I last talked. Okay.
Okay.
You mentioned that you're a volunteer. I understand that's at Tampa General. Is that correct?
No, I don't volunteer at Tampa General. I volunteer at this place called Baycare Measton Eden Hospital, which is actually across the street from where I live, so I could walk there.
I saw that you had recently been given a badge that said you volunteered for something like 500 hours. Is that right?
Yes, I've been doing the volunteer thing for about a year so far.
Wow, that's a lot of hours, Josh. Thank you for trying to take care of all us sick people. I saw something else that caught my eye too, that recently you gave a talk and you won an award at a town hall. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so one of the council members of the Tampa City Council saw my story on Facebook, and he invited me to talk in front of the council. And so I did. That was back in February, and they gave me the commendation.
Congratulations. I also
Thank you.
read that recently you retested to see if you're a good candidate for transplant, and I understand that you passed those exams. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Is there anything new, different, or exciting with your current kidney health that we have not discussed with you so far this evening that you'd like us to talk about?
I don't think so. Everything is just stable right now with my health. I'm still doing my dialysis every night for 10.5 hours and still waiting for either a living donor or the call for a deceased donor kidney. I'm just
Okay.
doing my best to hang in there and survive while I wait.
And my notes tell me that you've been dealing with kidney disease for over 21 years. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. John, I'll turn the exam back over to you, buddy.
I appreciate you, Uncle Jim. I also want to mention, man, it's an honor to have you on the show tonight. I think this is the first time that you've ever been on A Hope with Jonathan with me. So,
First, first venture with Hope with Jonathan, but when I heard that my buddy Joshua Tannen was going to be on, that was a no-brainer.
right.
Always
No,
happy to talk to Josh.
you know what, Uncle Jim? We did AAKP last year. Remember? We
We
had
did.
AAKP. So this is your second time on the show.
Second
But
time. Okay.
second time. But
You,
I
your
just
poor
want
Uncle Jim can't remember his way to the bathroom sometimes. So
to I just want to mention really quickly. Early on, I was looking for a lot of help, and I was like a deer in headlights. I mean, I had no education on kidney disease, dialysis, transplant in 2019, and I met Kent, and then just right after I met Kent and got associated with Kidney Solutions, I fell into the path of Uncle Jim Myers, and Jim was just very helpful. He was in the support group meetings and, stuff he was saying. And he has no idea the effect that he had on me during that time. It was a very crucial, important, dark, and just a crazy time. I mean, it was just a lot of information was just flying at me all at once. But, it was great to have a mentor like Kent Bressler and Uncle Jim in my life at that time. So I just want to thank you, Uncle Jim, for everything that you do, for raising awareness for kidney disease, and just the way that you do your advocacy. I just think it's great.
Well, we're lucky to have young guys like you and Joshua to pick up the banner for us, because guys like Kent and me and Armand, we're not going to live forever. So
Yeah,
we we are always trying to support young people that advocate for kidney patients.
absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Josh, I know Uncle Jim's already mentioned it that you've passed all your testing and everything, but I think maybe some people out there that may have some concerns about because you've already had a couple of transplants. Do you have any concerns at all about whether or not if you get a new kidney that it may end up failing, or you have any concerns at all about that at all?
Not really, because whatever happens, happens. I know that at some point, it'll fail because those kidneys don't last forever, but I'm hoping to get many, 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 many years out of a second kidney transplant and hope that during that time it'll work great and I'll be happy and live a more normal life and just relax a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And is the thing is you don't really know how long that they will last. The thing is there is testing out there now for early rejection. I do it every 3 months with the program that CareDx has, where I go in and have this special blood test that can detect early rejection. And I think with the advancements of medical technology and things like that, that the likelihood of these really early rejections are going to kind of become slimmer because technology is really advancing, and I just think that we're on the brink of finding out that these kidneys can last longer because of tests like this with like CareDx and things like that. So, but I'd like to encourage you to just continue to have hope and believe that it can happen, and just continue to believe and continue on your search no matter what. Don't let anything stop you, and just continue to try to keep yourself in good health. I know you mentioned earlier you're doing peritoneal every night now.
Yes.
Okay, so you're doing your peritoneal, and which is for those of you out there who may come across this is home dialysis. So we didn't really cover that too much. You go through sort of a rigorous deal with setting up for dialysis every night and making sure that you're sterile and all that stuff. Does your mom help you with that, or do you do all that on your own?
No, I do everything on my own.
How long does it normally take you to get prepped and prepared, and for how long do you do peritoneal dialysis?
So it only takes me like 5 minutes to get the machine set up, and um, I am on the machine for 10 and a half hours a night. So,
Wow.
for instance, if I hook up at 8 o'clock at night, I won't be done till like 6:30 in the morning.
Wow. Do you have to do any manual exchanges or anything during the day or anything
I
like
have to do
that?
a midday drain.
Midday drain, okay.
That's like around 2 or 3 o'clock.
Talk about that a little bit. So is there a lot of setup with that, or what do you have to
No, it's
do to do
just
that?
just one little drain bag. I wash my hands, put my mask on, put Alkavis on the gauze, disinfect the catheter, and just carefully take the mini cap off and just connect my transfer set to the little bag and then open up a clamp, and I just have to wait till it's done draining.
Yeah, and the reason for that is to get rid of the fluids in your body that you've had to take in from the night of being on the machine of 10 and a half hours. Is that
Well,
the
I have
reason?
a last fill in the
Okay.
morning before I end the treatment. So I have to get all that out. So the fluid that I put in on the last fill.
Are you following like a really strict fluid regimen where you can only have a certain amount of fluid, or do you not have to do that because you're doing a treatment every night?
Right. I don't have to watch my fluid as hemodialysis patients do because I have to do it every night. So that's not a problem.
Yeah. What about the like renal diet or anything like that? Or you have to really be strict and watch your labs, or are your labs right now really stable?
Yeah, my labs are good. I get it done every month along with my um, HLA kit that Tampa General sends me every month to check my antibodies. And they actually store a tube of blood in a refrigerator there in case a donor were to become available so they can use that for the cross match.
Yeah. You mentioned peritoneal dialysis, home dialysis, and you've also done in-center treatment as well. You've done in-center hemo for what you explained earlier.
Oh, I
Would
hated that. It
Okay,
was,
I was going to ask you if you recommended home dialysis over in-center dialysis.
oh, definitely, because you're on their schedule. They tell you what time to come in for your chair time. So,
Yeah,
and you can't move around in the chair. You can't really do much other than just sit
yeah,
there, take a nap, or read a book or whatever.
yeah,
But I had some side effects in the past. Like, I used to get a lot of headaches.
yeah.
I
I
was
get,
actually on hemo a couple different times. One in the beginning in 2011, and then when I was dealing with the nephrectomy, I had to do hemo for a little while. They took my PD catheter out, and I had to get another one put in, and waited to start PD again. I had to retrain.
yeah. Well,
So,
well, Jared Brown from the Warriors Quest show says that peritoneal dialysis is a good option for many patients, and I have to agree. You know, home dialysis is an excellent choice if it's for you and you can do it and you thrive well on it. And it sounds like you're doing really well with peritoneal, but as you know, dialysis will never take the place of a kidney, of a working kidney, and it'll hold you over until you can get that. And but
assuming you survive long enough, because
sure,
20 people a day die while waiting for a kidney, which is very sad. That's why we need more people to step up and help.
I'm not sure on the statistics, but it's up there, and
I know,
for
like, I think
sure,
there's like 20 people a day, I think at least.
there's a lot of different websites to tell you, and the numbers vary. But yeah, I mean, that's the important part is that people are dying daily waiting on a life saving kidney. You are correct, and
I'm
we
hoping
need
because I'm
people.
so young that I am young, I'm healthy, other than the kidney thing, I'll live long enough to get a transplant.
Absolutely. And you're using the peritoneal, the machine at nighttime, right?
Yes, the cycler,
The cycler. Okay. Absolutely.
which is
Uh,
easier to do than a manual exchange because you have to do this, and that. And my mom will do that for me if I have to. Like if I get peritonitis, she'll have to do a manual thing. So
sure. So the thing is what I want to talk to you a little bit about before because we're coming to the end of our show, and I want to talk a little bit about Kidney Solutions. And you had reached out to Kent, or you had reached out to Kidney Solutions. What has Kidney Solutions done for you once that you contacted them?
they put up a profile on the website for me. They put my picture and a little bio on there.
Hmm.
So I was going through this thing called the Kidney Search Foundation, and they're supposed to send me a T-shirt and some more um, posters and cardical stuff.
Okay.
I
Okay.
actually have a cardical on the car already.
All right. Yep. And I think you're talking about referring to posters. I think you're referring to the flyers.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, typically that's what we do is we'll send out the flyers to you and talk to you about how to distribute those. And actually, I had done the same thing. I had went out and put them out into the local community, anywhere that had a, common board, like a, community board. I would go in and ask them if I could put it up, and I would just put it up there. And I did it in restaurants. I did it in bowling alleys, grocery stores, hardware stores, anywhere I could do it. And I had some hits. I did have some hits off of them, where people had called in, and so they are beneficial. They are beneficial, and you can get out in your community and hang those flyers and put them out there, because you just never know. Another great place to put them also, I don't know if you're a member of a local community or church. A church is another great place to distribute your flyer or hang your flyer. So just to give you a couple ideas, also T-shirts are great, and things like that. You already talked about a car decal, so that's really cool. So great. You're on your way. I just think we need to get some people to potentially test for you and uh, and find you a match.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, somebody out there will see this and contact Tampa General and get started. And hopefully, if they're not a direct match, they'll do the pair kidney program with me, so I still have a chance at a living donor,
Yeah.
despite it being a difficult match because of my high PRA.
Yeah. Why don't you talk a little bit about what a kidney would do for you? Like what if you got called for a transplant tonight or tomorrow? How would that impact you right now?
First of all, it would allow me freedom from hooking up to a machine every night, since that machine is my lifeline. It's my life support system, so I wouldn't have to worry about being on a machine. Also, I would have just more freedom as far as, to travel, because traveling with dialysis supplies is really hard. Trying to figure out how to get it on the plane and making sure that I get supplies ordered and sent to where I'm staying, and it's a hassle. When I was on hemodialysis and we traveled, I'd have to um, call to see if there was any clinic in the area where I'm staying that would have an open spot for me.
Hmm.
But it's a little easier with PD than hemo. Also, I would feel like I would live a more normal life. I'd just feel better, and I'd feel like I'd have more energy, and I would just
Absolutely.
feel, just awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and you sharing your story, Josh. And I hope you don't mind me calling you Josh.
Mm.
But Joshua Tannen, I really appreciate you, and you are a true warrior. You've been through a lot, and we try to fit these shows into an hour. I'm sure we could go on for another hour talking about your story. You
Oh,
just
yeah, there was too much more that I didn't have time for, but I told you a good chunk of it.
absolutely, absolutely, and we also want to talk about Uncle Jim Myers being on the show tonight. Really appreciate you, Uncle Jim. You guys go
Thank you,
check out
Jim,
his.
for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good to see you
Happy to
as
do it.
always.
Anything to raise awareness, anything to educate people about kidney disease, I'm happy to make a contribution. And my good friend Joshua, I just want to say I hope that you find your match very soon, and I hope it lasts you the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
That's what
Jim.
we pray for everyone that gets a kidney, that's what happens. So, but also, guys, listen, tomorrow night, Uncle Jim's going to go live as well. Uncle Jim, talk a little bit about your guest and where people can find you and what time your show starts.
Okay. I'm on Kidney Stories 2 tomorrow night. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. Just about any social media source, LinkedIn. You can find my broadcast. I'm talking to Stacy Remendani tomorrow. Stacy's had a kidney transplant, all kinds of health issues before, all kinds of health issues since. I'm very anxious to give her a chance to tell her story because it's compelling. So I hope everybody will tune in 8 p.m. Central Time. Go right to my Jim Myers individual profile Facebook page, and you'll find a link pinned right to the top of the page where you can catch the broadcast. So, and as you know, I always do replays, just like I did with our friend Josh. So if you missed the broadcast, you can catch the replay. I run 80 plus groups on Facebook. I'll post that broadcast to all 80 of those groups. So, you shouldn't have any trouble finding the replay if you want it. WordPress, Pinterest, any of the major social media platforms that replay will be posted on. And so, if you miss it, don't worry about it. You can always check it out later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again, Uncle Jim, Joshua, and guys, listen.
All of John's websites too on Facebook. I might want to mention that. Hope with Jonathan has been real good to me, and I just want John to know I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if anyone's interested at all, you can reach out to us here at Kidney Solutions. We have support groups. We do a lot with kidney patients who are in need. Contact us, reach out to us. If you're looking for support, if you're looking for help, 830-285-2140. And we're here for you guys. Mr. Kent Bressler is here for you. And Uncle Jim Myers is associated as well. So if you want any extra information about Josh Tannen, again, reach out to us, kidneysolutions.org. Phone number again, 830-285-2140. God bless you guys. Thanks for showing up for our show tonight. And if I can get my mouse to quit clicking, we'll end the show. But hey, guys, I really appreciate the support for the show. Lots of people tuning in tonight to support you, Joshua. And that's always incredible. And I really appreciate people taking time out of their schedule. Life is busy. And so people taking time out to watch the show is amazing. So shout out to everyone that watched, everyone from Shane Blanchard, Steve Belcher with the Urban Health Outreach Media, the Warriors Quest Show, Jerry Brown, KWM, Kyle Hawkridge. I mean, just so many people was watching the show. So really appreciate you guys. Again, guys, y'all take care. God bless. Take care of your kidneys. God bless. This is Jonathan.
Best wishes, Joshua.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hope with Jonathan is created as an informational, educational, and entertainment show. Hope with Jonathan hosts, guests, partners provide information on the basis of research and personal experiences, and is not to be taken as or implied as diagnosis of any disease or treatment. Hope with Jonathan, its host, and guests and partners recommend and encourage you to speak to your medical team before implementing any treatment or diagnosis found on this show or any product, service associated to Hope with Jonathan.